Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Mickle. Welcome to INN News. We begin with the latest on the deadly stage collapse at the Indiana State Fair. With the question, could it have been prevented? The scary moments were caught on camera by a fairgoer. This was the tragic scene in Indianapolis Saturday night. 5 people are dead. The victims, 3 women, 2 men between 23 and 51 years old. More than 40 others were hurt. Wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour hit the fairgrounds. That caused the stage canopy to crash to the ground. Witnesses say the storm came on so fast, the stage snapped like a toothpick.
You saw a big wind gust and you could see the entire stage come down over to the right-hand side, and you could see people underneath it.
The people in front of me, I cried for them, not knowing if they had gotten out or, there's a little boy, and that's one thing that's haunting me. I'm hoping he got out.
Organizers say they considered canceling the show because of the weather not long before that accident, but decided against it. The terror in that moment when the deadly gust tore down the giant stage shows how it caught the concert goers off guard.
It's something that will stick with you forever.
The opening act had just finished, the crowd waiting for Sugarland. Fair officials had spoken 5 times to National Weather Service forecasters at the airport. On radar, they tracked a storm moving, predicting it would hit the fair between 9 and 9:30. At 8:39 p.m., they issued a severe thunderstorm warning. At 8:45, an announcer tells the crowd storms are coming, but no evacuation is ordered. As the skies darkened to the northwest, the fairgrounds seemed clear. Then a cold blast blew in ahead of the storm. At 8:49, winds over 60 miles per hour ripped into the rigging. Tons of scaffolding came tumbling down. Hundreds surged forward to help, lifting the twisted metal, moving the injured on makeshift stretchers.
Hey, we need a tourniquet! We need a tourniquet!
Indiana's governor choked up as he hailed those who helped.
It's the character that we associate with our state. People don't have to be paid to do it.
There are also questions over the safety of that scaffolding. The Indiana State Fair opened back up today. More scary news about the food we eat. 60,000 pounds of beef in at least 3 major grocery store chains are being recalled. National Beef Packing Company says the beef may be tainted with E. coli. Stores initiating the recall are Winn-Dixie, Publix, and Kroger stores, mostly in the southeastern states. The bacteria was discovered during routine testing. So far, no illnesses were reported. The Republican race for president is beginning to take shape after this past weekend's Ames straw poll. The results and fallout in tonight's Your Vote 2012 coverage. Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann claimed victory, winning with more than 4,800 votes. She only beat second-place finisher Ron Paul by 152, with more than 4,600. Tim Pawlenty came in a distant third with nearly 2,300. This top 3 finish led to a victory speech and a concession speech.
Thank you, everyone. We did this together. Woo! Thank you, everyone, for coming today, and thank you so much. What we saw happen today is this is the very first step toward taking the White House in 2012, and you have just sent a message that Barack Obama will be a one-term president.
Despite his third-place finish, former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty is out of the race. He says his campaign needed a boost from Ames that did not happen.
We needed to get some lift to continue on and to have a pathway forward. That didn't happen, so I'm announcing this morning on your show that I'm going to be ending my campaign for president.
Here's a look at some more results for you. Former Senator Rick Santorum came in 4th with more than 1,600, followed by former Godfather's Pizza CEO Herman Cain and Texas Governor Rick Perry with 718 write-in votes. Now, those votes were write-ins because Perry didn't officially enter the race until Saturday. He announced his candidacy in Charleston, South Carolina.
I believe in America. I believe in her purpose and her promise. I believe her best days have not yet been lived. I believe her greatest deeds are reserved for the generations to come. And with the help and the courage of the American people, we will get our country working again. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Now here are the rest of the results from that straw poll. Former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney had 567 votes, followed by former Speaker Newt Gingrich with 385. Former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman was 69 votes, and Representative Thaddeus McCotter had 35. By the way, the Ames straw poll is widely considered an early test of a candidate's strength in the battleground state. Still, history shows a straw poll win hardly guarantees future success in the state or nationwide. In fact, so far, only one Republican has won the straw poll and gone on to occupy the Oval Office. That was George W. Bush. Meanwhile, we have some discouraging news for President Obama. For the first time, his approval rating has fallen below 40%. That's according to Gallup's daily tracking poll. It was 39% yesterday. He's going to try to shore up his numbers this week with a bus tour that kicked off today. Former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak's trial has resumed in Cairo, a trial that could bring him the death penalty. Mubarak arrived by ambulance at the Cairo Police Academy where his trial is being held. He was wheeled into the courtroom on a mobile bed. Mubarak is accused in the deaths of hundreds of protesters who rallied against his regime last winter and forced his resignation. He also faces corruption charges. At least 69 people were killed and more than 100 hurt today in a series of bombings in Iraq. This is video from the aftermath. Police say more than 30 people were killed by a car bomb and a roadside explosion during the morning rush hour. It was the worst wave of violence to strike the country in months. 13 of the bombings targeted Iraqi security forces. Various events were held across Japan today, the 66th anniversary of the end of World War II. The more than 3 million people killed in the war were remembered in a memorial ceremony in Tokyo. Japan's prime minister delivered a speech and flowers were laid on an altar. New Zealand was hit with its first blast of wintry weather over the weekend. Snow and ice hit multiple parts of the country, even on the coast. Transportation was impacted as well as flights in and out of Queenstown were canceled. The storm came after days of warnings by the National Weather Service. And that's your Global News Now. The flooding is over, but the waiting continues for folks who still need disaster aid along the Missouri River. Washington and Burt County in Nebraska declared a flooding disaster on June 6th. Now, 2 months later, they still have no idea whether they're going to get any individual assistance from the government. Clark Young from our Omaha affiliate KPTM shows us why neighbors worry they may never get the help they need.
Both Iowa and South Dakota have already been denied individual assistance. And for the past month, residents in Washington and Burt County have been fearful that FEMA might not grant them individual assistance as well.
When the individual assistant inspectors from FEMA came, they got information off of the call-in list. They did talk with me on the telephone, but they never actually set foot in our jurisdiction.
Families in Washington County have had to live out of the Dana College dorms for the past 2 months, while their homes were slowly ruined by the water.
These people in some cases are paying dual, they're paying mortgage and they're paying rent on new property right now. And working class people like myself, I couldn't afford to pay rent on a house and my mortgage on top of it.
The Dana College dorms were home at one point for over 140 people, and now all the families have to be out by September 1st.
We're trying to remain positive, but when we know that there's a chance that federal assistance will not be for individuals, we need to look, to our churches, our neighbors, our communities, and any state emergency dollars that could be made available.
We could do better planning if we knew where we even stood with the federal government, but right now we just don't know. We're in a holding pattern, and in one way it would be good to know up or down, so at least we can make permanent plans.
Clark Young reporting for INN News.
Well, this heart-shaped potato from Hamburg, Iowa is a survivor of the Missouri River flood. Now an anonymous donor has put it up for auction on eBay. Right now bidding's up to $208. There are still 3 days left to bid. All the money will be donated to a Hamburg school employee and will be used to help children in need. Well, speaking of hearts, vitamin D isn't just for bones anymore. Now it can keep your ticker strong and prevent some other illnesses. And it's something for the U.S. to raise its glass to. Good news about wine. And one actress is expanding her role as mother. These stories and more coming up on INN.